KTK Sandy, Salt Lake City, K-Talk.
This is CNN Radio.
With Steve Rinehart.
It's Saturday at 1 o'clock. I am Steve Rinehart. I'm your host. Every week, it's my privilege to be with you here on Utah's oldest continually broadcasting radio station, K-Talk, AM 630, the voice of Utah. As most of you know, here on this program, we explore issues of Utah life, culture, history, politics. We talk about a variety of things from archaeology to government. Most of you know, ending last week and the couple of weeks prior to that, there was a search going on in Strawberry Reservoir for the body of a couple that drowned there when their boat overturned. The Utah Highway Patrol and Department of Public Safety had organized that search at the request of the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office. I read about it, the first time I read about it actually was on CNN.com in the national news section. And I had this small story about this search that was going on in Utah. I later saw it on Drudge Report. It got a lot of attention locally and nationally. There were articles almost daily about it in the Salt Lake Tribune and the Deseret News. And it's our privilege today to have on Captain Doug McCleve. He is the commander of the dive team that organized that search. And I invited him on. I got a hold of the Department of Public Safety yesterday. They finally put me in touch with him. And it's a privilege to be with us today. He has been a UHP officer, Utah Highway Patrol officer, for 14 years. He was the public information officer he is now the public information officer and has been for a period of time. And he's the administrative captain at the UHP headquarters. Doug, thank you for being with us on the air today. It's a privilege to have you.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate the invitation.
Now, tell us, how did the request come to you for this search? How did this whole thing get started?
Sure. It will help for me just to give you a little bit of background on how we function.
That would be great.
Sure. Typically what happens, anytime there's it's usually a drowning or some kind of boating accident or something on any of the lakes, the initial responsibility always goes to the local county sheriff's office. In this case, up at Strawberry Reservoir, there was the unfortunate boating accident with the Roundies, and the Wasatch County Search and Rescue Team got the initial call to respond. We come as invited guests on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. And in this particular case, the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office called us and asked if we would be willing to come and assist their effort in the recovery efforts to try to find the Roundies.
There have been drownings in Strawberry before. Are these requests common? Is it a common thing for Sheriff's Department to request that the Highway Patrol assist them like that?
Well, yeah. For us, this recovery effort that is a fairly new program with the Department of Public Safety. We've been we've had a dive team now for coming up on 5 years, and again, most people don't know that state troopers would necessarily be involved in a dive team or recovery effort like this, and so it's a fairly new program. But we've had opportunities now to hook up with the local county sheriff's offices, and we recently acquired this sonar equipment that's been so much talked about in the last couple of weeks through some federal grant money a couple of years ago. We've been able to implement that on some of the other searches around the state, especially this year, in helping recovering some of these victims.
So the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office made this request. They knew that you had this equipment and that you would be able to conduct the search better than they were able to. I assume it was probably you that they got a hold of.
Yeah, typically what happens is they'll call. We've got the word out. We try to train year-round as a team, and oftentimes we'll hook up with the county sheriff's offices around the state and train with them. So we all know that we all have this capability, and they're aware of this equipment that we have. And so the request came in to see if we would bring our team up to Strawberry Reservoir to help them search for these drowning victims.
And obviously you agreed.
Absolutely. In fact, how we function as a team is basically all of the team members, I think with the exception of one who works at the police academy, are state troopers. We all have different assignments every day. We operate on a call-out basis. We prepare and train twice a month. We try to get together and either do sonar training or dive training year-round. And everybody on the team knows that when the call comes, we just need to be prepared to respond, and that's what we did in the case of Strawberry.
So you probably pulled these men off other assignments that they had, and
Yeah.
they were reassigned to work at the reservoir for 10 or 11 days. It sounds
Yeah, depending on the search and depending on the circumstances. Sometimes not every team member. That we have a team of 8, and occasionally some of the guys have different things going on where they can't break away. But typically, I think our initial team that responded the first day was 4 to 5 guys.
And you were in contact with the family. You took all of your equipment up there. The Wasatch County Sheriff's Office was with you when you started the search, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. Typically what happens is the Sheriff's Office that's in charge of the search will set up a command center. We will respond and meet with whoever's in charge of the operation. In this particular case, we worked a lot with the Deputy Chief Sheriff, Todd Bonner. And they've got their command center. They usually have a mobile command, a communication center, set up with someone working the radio, and then they'll kind of fill us in on what they know so far, give us a map, kind of give us the circumstances. In this particular case, they had interviewed, there were a couple of people that did survive the accident. One of the brothers, Kimball Roundy, had survived and had given them a lot of really good information in terms of where the accident occurred, gave them kind of the wind conditions. It was kind of a very horrendous day that day with, I guess, strong winds and waves, which caused the accident to occur. And then we come in and they'll show us a map and give us GPS coordinates, and then from there we begin to start formulating a plan as to how we want to do the search.
And how did you feel when you got this request?
Well,
was this just another search, or was it different?
You know what? We have an interesting job anyway. State troopers, we're out there every day, and we deal with traffic situations and sometimes some pretty awful circumstances with some very serious crashes but this is such a unique environment for us, and we're so excited to get involved and there's when you get there's a lot of emotion. If you can imagine, I've never personally had a family member that has drowned, but it's a very high stress, high emotion environment, and what we want to do is just help. That's our main purpose, is to go up there and see if we can help these families and help bring their loved ones home from a tragedy.
It was Catheryn and Steven Roundy. You met with their parents. You promised them, you told me on the phone yesterday, that you would bring their son and daughter or daughter-in-law back.
Yeah, typically what happens is sometimes in this business, and we look at it as a business, but there's some real human experiences that happen and occur. And, we interact with people in their most, in the most horrible kinds of circumstances and the most desperate times. And I had the opportunity to meet with these parents, and they had some questions. And so what we did is we would let them, we'd been in the search for a couple of days. And Catherine's parents live out of state, and so they had made the journey to Utah, and we had spent a few days out on the lake running our equipment, and they had lots of questions. And so I had the opportunity to meet with them and kind of show them how we function as a team, kind of show them how the sonar works and what kind of imaging that we see. In the process of the search, as you know, we happened across some other drowning victims, and we had some imaging on our screen, and they wanted to see that imaging to kind of, and it's helpful, I think, for people to understand when they see what we're doing. And so we were able to bring them on the boat and explain to them, why we do what we do. We don't just put divers in the water because we're very limited in terms of a search. First of all, a couple things. Number one, the area that we were searching was about 80 to 85 feet of water in depth, with the altitude, I think, of somewhere around 7,500 feet, give or take, which adds, in terms of diving, there's some technical difficulties with that kind of a dive. You can basically leave a diver at that depth for probably around 10 minutes maximum, but then the diver's got to come up because of the physiological effects.
Nitrogen narcosis, the bands,
exactly.
all these things.
That's right, nitrogen. Anyway, yeah, the physical effects of a diver. And so the other problem is it's very, very cold, and you're very limited in your scope of the search because the diver can only probably see, in a best-case scenario, your visibility is probably going to be 5, maybe 7 feet with a flashlight for 10 minutes, and then you're done. Then we would not be able to send a diver down to that depth again probably that day. And so you're very limited in terms of the area that you can search, where with this equipment it allows us to be able to keep track with the GPS technology and search wide ranges of area with no risk to any divers. Plus, it's way more effective and efficient because we're covering a large amount of space.
Tell us a little more about the equipment. You have side scan sonar.
Sure.
You've got this ROV that you mentioned that's on a tether that you were using while you were up there. It sounds like a fairly complicated set of hardware.
Exactly, and I appreciate that because along with us and the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office, they also invited Summit County Sheriff's Office to assist in the search. And Summit County has a remote-operated vehicle. It's basically a big machine on a tether that can go down, and it has a different kind of sonar system, and it also has a camera, and it also has I don't know the word, a grabber hook that pinches down on an object if we need to bring it to the surface. And so what we would do is we would take our boat with the side scan sonar, and you have to understand the bottom conditions at this particular reservoir were ideal because it was basically a flat, sandy bottom, very little debris, no rocks, trees, bushes, that kind of thing. It was basically a flat, sandy bottom, and so we were able to get on our heading of our compass and do large sweeping areas with the sonar. And the image that comes back to us is similar to, it's not photograph quality, however, it's very clear in terms of imaging, so we're able to distinguish whether or not there's an object in the water that we need to take a look at. And so if we would see an object or a target of interest, we would get on the radio and have Summit, given the GPS coordinates, Summit County would come over to the whatever it is we were looking for, drop their robot in there, and be able to, first of all, do their sonar imaging, and then also they actually have an actual camera on the machine itself that would give them a visual image of what exactly we were looking at.
Captain McCleve, we've got a couple of callers that want to talk to you. Let me throw the phone numbers out really quick. We're talking to Captain Doug McCleve, Select 254-5855, Provo 470-5855, Ogden 670-5855. We'll take some calls when we get back. He was the commander of the dive team in Strawberry Reservoir that found 6 bodies a couple of weeks ago, searching for the bodies of Steven and Catheryn Roundy. Quick 2-minute commercial break. We'll be right back.
AM 630 KTKK.
Open the door with a push of a button, push it over again and the door be shut.
Right now is the best time to get your garage door ready for winter. Call Prices Guaranteed Doors and they'll install the Morantic 1/2 horsepower belt-driven garage door opener. The quietest opener you can buy. Call now. Get an extra transmitter and a keyless entry system free, plus a lifetime Morantic warranty. No one offers you so much for your money as Prices Doors does. Beat the cold weather. Call now. Get these $100 savings. Schedule your installation. We service everyone on the Wasatch Front. We install promptly when you call. Don't hesitate. Call today, 975-7575, 975-7575. We guarantee 100% customer satisfaction. Get the $100 Marinetic savings, only from Prices Guaranteed Doors.
Radio. It's the hottest medium in the world, and now you can be part of it. Here's a chance to join the K-Talk team as a show producer and call screener. This non-salaried volunteer position could be your first step in an exciting broadcast career. Get the details by calling 253-4883. Call 253-4883 to see if you can become part of the team at K-Talk.
This is K-Talk, Utah's oldest continually broadcasting radio station. Talking to Captain Doug McCleve. He was commander of the dive team that searched Strawberry Reservoir for the bodies of Catheryn and Steven Roundy. It's a pleasure to have him with us. If you have questions or comments for Captain McCleve, give us a call. Select 254-5855, Provo 470-5855. I'm sorry about that commercial break there, Captain McCleve. These things come up on us. But please continue with what you were saying. You were talking about the equipment.
Sure.
And a little bit how this works.
Sure. And just to kind of follow up, Stephen, what you asked me a little bit earlier, you know, we had the opportunity to bring the families inside the boat and kind of show them the reason why we do the search the way that we do and how the equipment works and those kinds of things. But in the course of those conversations, you know, you have some pretty unique opportunities just to have the human experience. And during our conversation with these parents, if you can imagine the agony that they must have been going through, and the family members and loved ones and those of us, if people have had, if you lose family, it's a difficult thing. But in our discussions, I had the opportunity to speak with these parents, and I made them a promise. And I was able to look them in the eye and tell them that we were going to be able to bring their kids home. And that's a pretty emotional time, you know what I mean? And an amazing honor to be able to be a part of that in terms of law enforcement. Sometimes you get a real unique opportunity to truly give service to people in the course of your day. And in this particular case, I was confident because of, number one, the equipment that we have is state-of-the-art equipment, and it's amazing. And the bottom conditions of Strawberry Reservoir itself were ideal. I just felt very confident that we were eventually going to be able to find their kids and bring them home.
Well, as a citizen of the state of Utah, it's good for me to hear that you have this kind of interaction with these people. And to see the first-rate job you guys did, it makes me proud that we have such competent law enforcement officers that are out there really helping fix situations like these. I have a boat, and I have what I thought was a pretty good fish finder on this thing, and I know how complicated it is to try to work with some of this technical equipment.
Sure.
You guys, I'm sure, have much better equipment than I have, but you mentioned the bottom was smooth. I still, even with all that you have, I'm impressed with the job that you managed to do and how well you managed to conduct this search. You didn't just find the bodies of Catheryn and Steven Roundy like you promised, but you found the bodies of every other person who was drowned in that lake 15 or 20 years. There were 4 other bodies in that lake that you pulled.
Right. Well, and again, and I appreciate that. And the thing is, it was I want to make sure, and this is very, very important to us as an organization and to the other people. We were just part of a team of people. With the help of the Wasatch County guys and the Summit County guys, there were several volunteer people who gave their entire time and effort for a week and a half to make this successful. I think it was just a good team effort by everybody, and we all kind of recognized our roles, and we all did exactly what we needed to do. And in terms of these other people that were found, that was we were not planning on it, we were not expecting it. It's just because of the nature of the equipment that we use and the conditions of the lake, we were very fortunate. I hope that at least part of what our mission was help bring some comfort to some of those families as well. I know some of them have been waiting a long, long time to have their loved ones back.
Well, how did you feel? Because you found 3 bodies before you found either Catheryn or
Right.
Steven Roundy.
Right.
And how did you feel when you started pulling these other bodies out? The first body that you found, did you think that you had found?
Absolutely. We thought, I will tell you, when we came across the first image on our screen, we were involved, just a little background for you, we were involved in the Utah County Lake search when the airplane went down this summer.
And we had an employee of K-Talk that was one of the employees in that plane.
Oh, wow. I was not aware of
was
that.
a call screener for one of the morning hosts, and I
Wow.
am embarrassed. I don't remember which host it was or
Wow.
what employee. There's several of them.
Well,
But you did a good job on that search also.
Well, again, it's so different than what we normally and typically would be involved with in terms of Utah Highway Patrol. Typically you'll see us out on the freeways, and we're making sure people are behaving on the freeways, and we're involved in drug interdiction and DUI enforcement, those kinds of things. But this is just an area. We had a gentleman that used to work for our organization that had a vision and saw that there was a need for this kind of a thing, and Mike Bergen, who now works for Summit County Sheriff's Office, who had the vision and saw the need and worked hard to get some federal grant money put together. And it's just a unique opportunity that we have to be able to serve the public in another way besides what we typically would do. And so in this particular case, when we came across the first victim, I had sent a voicemail into my upper administration saying, look, we found the first victim. We're confident that this is one of them. And it probably won't be very long because we figured that they would probably be fairly close in terms of, the area where they had probably drowned. And so I figured we were going to be done within, a few hours. And then when Summit County put the robot down there and they were able to recover the victim, and they brought the victim up to the surface and we found it wasn't, we were in complete shock.
It was apparent to you right away that it wasn't the person either. It was not one of the Roundies.
That's correct.
Hold that thought. We'll be
Okay.
right back. Quick commercial break, 254-5855. Talking to Captain Doug McCleve with the Utah Highway Patrol. commander of the dive team that searched Strawberry Reservoir. We'll be right back.
AM 630 KTKK.
I like some cookies. Potato chips. Candy. Ice cream. Brownies. Marshmallows. Cotton candy.
Left to their own devices, children wouldn't always eat right.
Chocolate donuts for breakfast. I want pizza. 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 Popcorn.
That's why they have you.
French fries.
And you have WIC. WIC provides nutrition information, healthcare referrals, even food to women, infants, children. It's confidential and free. To find out more about WIC, our nearest location, or if you qualify for our benefits, call 1-866-WIC-INFO. That's 1-866-WIC-INFO. Your child has you,
Pepperoni pizza.
and you have WIC. Brought to you by the National WIC Association and the Ad Council.
Got people skills? Your success depends on them. How would you like to learn the most effective way to overcome hidden barriers and gain the trust and confidence of others in business and social settings? There are 3 major focal points in business. Number 1, sell the product. Number 2, sell the company reputation. And number 3, sell yourself. This is where we can help. People skills. Call for a free report. Yes, a free report on this wonderful business and personal resource. It's called People Skills in a Box. Take your people skills to a 10 in the comfort of your own business or home. This no-nonsense, concise training is the missing link you've been looking for. Here's how it works. We're going to teach you 11 easy-to-use communication skills on how to read people and how people read you, and 4 phone skills that give you a professional advantage. These skills are the tools you need to create great first impressions and build rapport. In business, you and your employees will be more productive and receive more referrals. On a personal level, refining your approach and interaction with others brings more friends and self-confidence. For example, Cameron, a 16-year-old high school student, was amazed by the increase in his popularity. Susan, an over-the-counter product rep, saw her sales double. Scott said, People Skills in a Box has proved to be the most valuable of business resources. To get your free report on People Skills in a Box and improve every relationship from this day forward, simply call 801-756-7790. 756-7790. That's 756-7790. Thank you for listening.
I'm Steve Rinehart. I'm your host every Saturday at 1 o'clock. We talk about issues of politics, culture, history. Very pleased to have on Captain Doug McCleve with us, Utah Highway Patrol, talking about the Strawberry Reservoir search for the Roundies, Catheryn and Steven, who drowned there about 3 weeks ago. Captain McCleve, thanks again for being here.
No problem. Happy to do it.
It was the ROV that you were using that you used to retrieve this first body.
Right.
It was immediately obvious to you. You said that this was not the body of Catheryn or Steven Roundy. What did you initially think? Did you realize that this was another drowning victim? Did you suspect possibly that it was some sort of homicide?
Well, again, we first and foremost we were not planning on finding them. We were not expecting it. I think most of us were somewhat taken back, realizing that we found a prior drowning victim that we had no idea. At that point, obviously, there were lots of questions. Wasatch County Sheriff's Office advised us that they did have a couple of incidents where they had some people missing that they had never been able to recover. And so, it was apparent, quite obvious at the point of when they brought the victim up that it was not one of the ones we were looking for. There's a whole flood of emotions that come over, at least for me personally. It's somewhat humbling. There's a sense of respect and almost reverence when you have those experiences, and this was kind of how we were feeling, and a sense of shock, because we just weren't expecting that.
Most of us who go to work on day-to-day jobs would never have this experience, which you had 6 times during the search of finding a body and returning it to the family and the people who care about it. How long did it take to identify the body? Was it a difficult thing for the family, or were they? Now
and just so what happens at that point for us? Again, and this is where it's important to know. how things work in terms of the actual operation. At that point, everything's turned over to Wasatch County Sheriff's Office. They go through that process of identification, and they go back to their cold cases and try to determine, based on what kinds of things forensically they may need to use to identify who the victim would be. Like I said, Todd Bonner told me that they had a couple of cases that they had been working that they never did find the victims, and so obviously they go back to there and try to determine ages and the description at the time when the people became missing and those kinds of things. And I think through some forensic sciences they were able to determine who the person was.
And how long was it until you found the second body?
Well, interestingly enough, we had gone up on I think our first day was a Thursday, and we knew that a big storm was coming in. So there was a sense of urgency for us. Once the victim was brought back to the surface, and we just continued with our work, and we let everything was turned over to Wasatch County and Summit County, and us continued to do the searching, and this went on for a couple of days. Saturday morning, the wind began to blow, and what we do is we systematically determine. We have 3 different computer screens on the boat that we work off of, and we kind of look at the. We have a mapping system that shows the Lake of Strawberry, and then we enter our GPS coordinates on the map to help us stay disciplined in our search, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, so you can track where you've been.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And it's very controlled. It's very organized. It's very disciplined. And so we search an area, and then we finish that, and we move to the next area. And we map out the GPS, and then we sweep that area. And then we move to the next one, if that makes sense. And that's in the course of doing that is when we found the first victim. On the Saturday, before the storm came in, we began searching another area that would have been more north and to the east. We got about a fourth of the way through our search pattern, and the wind was too strong, and we had to pull off. We knew that the storm was going to be here for a few days, so we went in, did a debrief. I had the opportunity to interview Kimball Roundy, which is one of the survivors, and I brought him over, and he took me to a map, and I asked him to kind of recount for me the terrible situation that he was in. And he kind of explained where he thought they were, and that sent us, we went back the following Wednesday, I believe, which put us in a different search pattern that we had been. And that's when we started to find the other victims. Went through, and again, located the boat from the boating accident. The other victim was fairly close to the boat.
This was a 1995 boat sinking.
Yes.
3 people drowned.
Yes.
And they were all still the bodies were all still fairly close to the boat.
Yeah. Now I believe, and I need to check on this, Stephen, but I think that the second body that we recovered was one of those victims. There was some interesting circumstances surrounding that. The wallet actually floated once we recovered the victim.
I was going to ask you about this. You mentioned this to me. Tell us about this. What exactly happened?
Well, again, and I want to be very respectful to some family, and I would never want to compromise in anything that happened. But basically, in the recovery effort, the wallet of the second victim actually floated to the surface. Keep in mind, this occurred 11 years ago. In the process of the recovery, one of the searchers looked over and saw a wallet floating in the water, and it turned out to be the wallet of the second victim.
And this was just after you recovered the second victim.
That's correct.
I want to ask you about this really quickly. We got to take a 1.5 minute commercial break. We'll be right back. 254-5855. Talking to Captain Doug McCleve about the search and rescue operation for the Roundies at Strawberry Reservoir.
KTKK.
Have you seen the cool t-shirt with the outrageous message? Well, Ragtags probably did it. Let Ragtags make those special t-shirts for your school, preschool, church, youth group, or sports teams. T-shirts are a great fundraiser for your group. A printed t-shirt starts as low as $3, so you can afford it. Ragtags is your local shop. Ragtags will silkscreen or print your message on a t-shirt. We will make vinyl decals for your automobile or promotional items for your business. Ragtags will have special orders for your business or group. Even one t-shirt will be cheerfully made for you. You have to see this to believe it. Call Tradio Todd at 495-4292, 495-4292, or visit them at 1644 West, 106 South, number 5, next to Cafe Rio and across from the Pie. Imagine your whole group's picture on the front of your t-shirt. Call Ragtags at 495-4292. That's 495-4292. The best gift of Christmas is music, and Larkspur's Season of Light is a gift that brings the sound of joy. There is such thing as the perfect gift this holiday season. Larkspur Season of Light, available right now at K-Talk Radio for just $14. Call 253-4883 or visit us at 10348 South Redwood Road. You don't want to miss the chance to bring the sound of Christmas into your home and the homes of your friends and family. Larkspur Season of Light.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Merry Christmas from K-Talk Radio.
The holidays are officially here. We hope that you're all having a wonderful weekend with your families and enjoying the Christmas spirit that's rapidly setting in. We're talking to Captain Doug McCleve, who hopefully brought some peace and closure to the situations of 6 families. Him and his dive team found the 6 drowning victims in Strawberry Reservoir 2 weeks ago while conducting a search for only 2 victims, Steven and Catheryn Roundy. I had a call screener come in here just a second ago and pull up some articles on Google News for me about your search. It's interesting to see there were newspapers across the country that had blurbs about it. Not everything they have to say is accurate. All headline news reported that you found 8 bodies in a Utah lake. It was 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, and just let me clarify that even too, Stephen. I think that in total we were involved with the recovery of 5.
Oh, it was 5,
including Steven and Catheryn. Now I know that Summit County went back up there with Wasatch County and another private company, I think, to look. There was some questions whether or not they found the 6th victim. I'm not sure necessarily if that was the 6th victim, or because there were a total of 6. The 3 from the 95 accident. There was another one in 2001 that was the first victim we found, and then the Roundies. And I'm not sure if that 3rd victim from the 95 crash has been identified or not. I think that the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office is working on making the identifications, but I know for sure that 5 have been recovered.
I see. Not everything you read in the news is 100% accurate.
Well, it's difficult. There's a lot of information that goes out, and there's deadlines and things, and hopefully we can make sure. But I can tell you that we were directly involved with assisting in the recovery of 5.
Well, I want to talk to you about the 2nd victim really quickly.
Sure.
You pulled the 2nd victim out of the water, and this wallet floated to the surface after you had retrieved this 2nd drowning victim.
Right.
And one of your troopers noticed that this wallet was floating alongside the boat. Is that what you said?
I think it was. I actually think it was one of the Wasatch County search and rescue guys that noticed, or deputies. I can't remember who it was exactly, but as they were in the process of recovering the 2nd victim, they looked over and there was a wallet floating on the surface of the water, which turned out to be helpful in identifying the 2nd victim. Which, I don't know the physics of things. I mean, just keeping in mind that it had been submerged for 11 years, and just an incredible chain of events.
What a coincidence! I just can't imagine how that would happen.
Right.
That this wallet floats to the surface and it helps you identify the body that you've just pulled out of the water.
Incredible. Well, and I'll tell you, and let me just share with you, because I know we're getting short on time, but I want to. If you remember earlier in the story, I talked about how we went over on the first Saturday we were there. We got blown off the search area.
Right.
After my discussion with Kimball Roundy, we kind of moved our search pattern back to the south, which is where we found these other drowning victims. And here's the ironic thing about the story. And I'm telling you, I don't know what your personal beliefs are. I know that what my personal beliefs are, and sometimes I think that we may get some additional help. But we went back to finish the search area that we got blown off of on Saturday once we recovered the other victims from the 95 crash. And literally, and you have to know, we literally made hundreds of passes with our boat. Each time we do a search area, we covered a total square footage of about 12 square miles on the bottom of that lake, which is amazing in terms of search efforts in water. But what's fascinating to me about this story is the Friday morning that we went back to finish the search pattern that we had started that Saturday we got blown off the lake. On the very first pass that we made with our unit, we found a target that we thought was very promising. We were first on the water that day, so Summit County was still gearing up to bring their robot. So we marked it, GPS marked it on our computer screen and kept going. And it turns out that the very first pass that we made was one of the Roundies.
That is incredible.
Well, had we found that the Saturday we got blown off, we would have never gone to the south end of the lake and found those other victims. Just an amazing turn of events. It was just an incredible experience.
Myself and most of our listeners are members of the predominant religion here in the state of Utah. And most people, I think, believe in some sort of higher power. And
sure.
Certainly, if there is some kind of higher power that ever intercedes in the affairs of men, I would suspect that this would be one of the situations where that maybe something like that would happen. And so it's inspiring to hear this kind of
sure.
thing, that you found this body and that you found this wallet. We only have about another 3.5 minutes. But tell us quickly just the rest of the story, how you found the Roundies,
sure.
How this whole thing concluded and how you feel
sure.
now that it's over.
Okay. Well, again, I told you earlier of the opportunity I had to spend some pretty tender moments with some families, right, in this whole experience.
Right.
And I had the opportunity to look some parents in the eye and make them a promise. And so the Friday, when we pretty much completed our mission, and we were able to bring the Roundies home, once again I had an opportunity. And these become very personal, private moments, as you can imagine. But I was able to once again
sure.
have the opportunity to look some parents in the eye and share with them some tears and some hugs and be able to bring their families home. And I'll tell you, in my 14 years of law enforcement experience, you have some amazing experiences and you do some crazy things. And, I've been involved in high-speed chases and all of those things. But I will tell you the sense of satisfaction and the feeling that you've actually done some good that day. I don't know that I've ever experienced anything quite so significant as this opportunity we had to go up there and truly be a part of such an amazing and incredible recovery effort. And I will tell you that it took everybody involved, all of the teams, all of the volunteers, all of the people, and I believe some faith and some prayers to accomplish what we did. And I will tell you that the bond and the opportunity to be able to have those private moments with his family is priceless to me. And it's probably the most satisfying thing I've ever been a part of in my personal career.
Well, I think oftentimes people view the Highway Patrol or the Sheriff's Departments as being this hostile bunch that's very much trying to, control or make sure that people aren't misbehaving. And so I just can't thank you enough for the job that you did helping these people and helping everybody who goes to Strawberry Reservoir feel better about these situations. You've done an extremely competent job, you and your troopers and the Wasatch County Sheriff's Office, and it's inspiring to know that we have law enforcement officers that have the know-how and the capability, and the intelligence to organize this kind of thing and make it work so successfully. It's inspiring to hear what you have to say.
Well, and we're proud to be a part of that. You know what I mean? We're excited to be able to offer this kind of service to the citizens that we serve, because really that's what law enforcement is about. And the reason I joined 14 years ago, I left private business and a family business because I wanted to try to truly contribute and try to help people. And this was one of the most amazing, like I say, along with Summit County, along with Wasatch County, and all the volunteers, one of the most incredible, truly human experiences I've ever been a part of. And I feel honored, and I know that our team feels honored to be able to offer those. And it's a sincere, like I say, you have some incredible opportunities share with people, and what an opportunity it was for us to be able to be a part of that.
We only have about another 10 seconds, but very quickly, do you expect to be called up again in the future to search other lakes?
I think that we'll talk with the county sheriff's office. If they request our services, we'll talk and we'll make a responsible decision as to what we should do.
Well, great job, Doug. Thank you so much for what you did up there. Thank you for coming on the program today. I'll make sure you get a copy of this.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Take care of yourself and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on K-Doug.
Today, more Americans are overweight, diabetic, and insulin resistant than ever before. And Dee Jardine addresses this issue with Straight Talk each Saturday at 3 on K-Talk AM 630. Hear from healthcare professionals, dietitians, and those who have overcome health problems like Dee himself. 10 years ago, Dee was on the brink of death. But today, thanks to a lifestyle change, he's healthy and strong to talk about it. Join us for Health Talk with Dee Jardine Saturday at 3 on AM 630 K-Talk.
Wouldn't it be great to get paid every time someone you know takes a vacation, books a cruise, a hotel, or a rental car? Wouldn't it be great to earn monthly travel commission checks, be your own boss, work from home, and take advantage of amazing travel industry benefits? Wouldn't it be great to promote something everyone wants and needs? Well, now you can. Travel is the $4.7 trillion industry and is the fastest growing industry in the world. As a home-based, independent travel agent, you can be a part of the amazing travel industry. For more information about this opportunity, call me today, 801-415-8137. Save money when you travel, earn money when they do. Call me today, 801-415-8137.